Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 16. Sura Asuranam Udadim Natham Mandarachalam Dhadre Kamata Rupena Prishthe Ekadashe Vibhuhu Surasuranam Udadim Matnatam Mandarachalam Dadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu Surasuranam Udadim Matnatam Mandarachalam Dadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu Surasuranam Udadim Matnatam Mandarachalam Dadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu
Surasuranam Udadim Matanatam Mandachalam Matnatam Mandarachalam Dadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu
Surasuranam Udadim Matnatam Mandarachalam Dhadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu
Surasuranam Udadim Matanam Mandarachalam Dhadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu
Surasuranam Udadim
Matanatam Mandarachalam
Dadre Kamata Rupena Prishtha Ekadashe Vibhuhu Sura Theist Asuranam
the atheists Udadim
Udadim
in the ocean Matnatam journey Mandarachalam the Mandarachala hill Dadre sustain Kamata tortoise Rupena in the form of Prishthe shell Ekadashe 11 in the line Vibhuhu great. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Translation: The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe. Purport. Once both the atheists and theists were engaged in producing nectar from the sea so that all of them could become deathless by drinking it. At that time, the Mandarachala hill was used as the churning rod, and the shell of Lord Tortoise, the incarnation of Godhead, became the resting place pivot of the hill in the sea water. Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sukadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pradakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Shakantamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Vesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Radhareshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Upa Sindhubhya Vicha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Surasuranam Udadhim Matnatam Mandarachalam Dadre Kamata Rupena Prishta Ekadashe Vibhu. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a turning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe. By the theists and atheists of the universe. So, this is one of the most famous pastimes of Lord Vishnu. Very, very wide, very well known, widely read. This pastime is described in a couple of Puranas, including the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and is a very celebrated pastime of the Supreme Lord. In this one pastime, he takes, a couple of incarnations in this one pastime of churning the milk ocean. So one is described as Kurma Avatar.
Powering on. Welcome to Altec Landing.
So, Kurma Avatar, Lord Tortoise. What is the other incarnation?
Mohini Murti.
Mohini. Right? Dharmantari. It takes.
Aravita.
Huh? No. That's not that. The Lord takes the form of Ajita.
Ajita, one of the demigods.
Ajita. Takes the form of Ajita, and we'll see this. So it's like 4 incarnations in just one pastime. So, very celebrated pastime because of this reason, described in many places in Shastra. So let's go to the 8th canto. We'll have a nice pastime class today. Stories. So 8.5.9. So what happens? In the 8th canto, Shukadeva Goswami is speaking, and in verse 9, he says, in the 6th Manvantara millennium, Lord Vishnu, the master of the universe, appeared in his partial expansion. He was begotten by Vairaja in the womb of his wife, Deva Sambhuti, and his name was Ajita. So the Supreme Lord, this is explained, in brief. This whole pastime in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is explained in a somewhat brief manner. There's much more elaborate descriptions found elsewhere in Shastra. So what happens is that the Supreme Lord actually takes birth as a demigod, as the son of Vairaja and Devasambhuti, and his name is Ajita. So, by churning the ocean of milk, Ajita produced nectar for the demigods in the form of a tortoise. He moved here and there, carrying on his back the great mountain known as Mandara. A point I'd like to add is that the Kurma avatar, or the incarnation of Lord Tortoise, is still current. Where is he? Huh? At the bottom of the universe. At the bottom of the universe, Lord Tortoise is holding up Shesha, who is holding up the whole universe on his head. So that Lord Tortoise is huge and is swimming in the Garbhodaka ocean. And we'll see there's some interesting reasons that come. So Parikshit then inquires from Shukadeva Goswami. King Parikshit inquired, "O great Brahmana Shukadeva Goswami, why and how did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk? For what reason did he stay in the water as the tortoise and hold up the Mandara mountain? How did the demigods obtain the nectar? And what other things were produced from the churning of the ocean? Kindly describe all these wonderful activities of the Lord." And then Parikshit Maharaj gives the reason why he is asking this. Very nice reason. He says, "My heart, which is disturbed by the three miserable conditions of material life, is not yet sated with hearing you describe the glorious activities of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Master of devotees." So this is the reason that Parikshit Maharaj gives. He says, "My heart is disturbed by the three miserable conditions of material life." What are the three miserable conditions of material life?
All the different classes.
The three different kleshas. The three different kleshas are the misery is produced by the body, misery is produced by the body and mind, misery is produced by other living entities, and misery is produced by material nature, inflicted by material nature. So, the demigods. So, Parikshit Maharaj, by stating this, gives us the hint that by hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, we will be saved from all these three types of misery. These three types of misery are tormenting all of us. Oh, I have health problems. I'm faced with depression. I don't have enough money. Or the weather's too hot. The weather's too cold. What's the solution? Hear about the pastimes of Krishna. How is that going to help? That helps because we're being tormented by these material conditions, ultimately because of our root disease of being averse to Lord Krishna, of being turned away. Our face is turned away from Krishna. Our desire is not to serve Krishna. We are not desiring to be a servant of Krishna. So the desire to enjoy separately from Krishna is what is causing all these miseries. So when we hear them, we are attacking the root of the problem, and in that way, our material life comes to an end. Okay, so then what happens with Sukadeva Goswami? He congratulates Parikshit, and he explains what was the reason. So how did the churning of milk happen? Shukadeva Goswami said, "When these asuras with their serpent weapons severely attacked the demigods in a fight, many of the demigods fell and lost their lives. Indeed, they could not be revived. At that time, O king, the demigods had been cursed by Durvasa Muni. The three worlds were poverty-stricken, and therefore ritualistic ceremonies could not be performed." So, what is the pastime? What happens is that everyone knows this, but Durvasa Muni cursing, what happens is, it's not explained in detail in the Bhagavatam, but what happened is Durvasa Muni went to blank. Well, yeah, he was coming back. He was coming back from somewhere. He went to Vaikuntha, and he met Lord Vishnu. So what happens is he meets Lord Vishnu, and he offers him obeisances, glorifies him. Vishnu is very happy to see Durvasa and gives him a goblet and sends him back. So Durvasa Muni is on his way back, Of course, this Vaikuntha, he didn't go to the actual spiritual world, he went to, yes, he went to Shvetadvipa. The Vaikuntha planet within this material universe. He did not he did not cross the Karana ocean, Mahavishnu, no, he didn't cross that. So, Durvasa Muni is on his way back and he sees Indra and he's very happy to see Indra. Oh Indra, I have a very nice gift for you. Here's a garland. So, it's very nice. And he's a garland someone. So, but Indra is sitting on his elephant and is puffed up, he's intoxicated with material opulence and considering himself the lord of the universe, and thus he Durvasa is giving me this garland. Durvasa is a beggar. He's giving me this garland. So what he does, he puts the garland on his elephant, Airavata. And Airavata is an animal. Elephant, ultimately is an elephant. It's an amazing elephant, but it's an elephant. So Airavata takes the garland off himself, throws it on the ground and tramples over it. So now Durvasa has a real reason to get angry. Generally Durvasa gets angry for something. There are many instances where Durvasa gets angry for the wrong things. Like in Ambarish Maharaj's. But in this case he got angry for the right reason. And he got really angry that the Lord's prasad, which he had received directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which must have been a very cherished object, and he was so generous as a real Brahmana and gave it to Indra, and Indra, not realizing what he had received, and put it on Airavata and they trampled it. So Durvasa became angry, and what did he do? Cursed. He cursed Indra, he cursed all the demigods. He cursed Indra, basically. He cursed him to become poverty-stricken. And if Indra has to become poverty-stricken, means the king has to be poverty-stricken. If the king is poverty-stricken, then the subjects become poverty-stricken. Yeah, kingdom becomes poverty-stricken. So Prabhupada in that purport warns that to be extremely opulent in materialistic advancement is sometimes very risky. A materially opulent person does not care about anyone, and thus he commits offenses to great personalities such as devotees and great saints. This is the way of material opulence. As described by Shukadeva Goswami, Dhana Durmanda. Too much wealth makes one blind. This happens even to Indra in the heavenly kingdom. What to speak of others in this material world? When one is materially opulent, he should learn to be sober and well behaved towards the Vaishnavas and saintly persons, otherwise he will fall down. So, traditional pious people in India, some of them, they understood this principle. And they were materialists, but they were pious materialists. And they knew how to keep their material opulence. What should I do? Serve the Vaishnavas. Serve the Vaishnavas, give lots in charity, and I will receive a lot. A good example of this is the Gujarati community. They're very good at this. You will find that even a very, 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 very rich person in Gujarat, he will come and drive a car for a sannyasi or something like this. Because the driver is like what? It's like he would have like probably 5 drivers, but he would drive that sannyasi. Otherwise, if you look at his life, if you look at his house, I was with Maharaj in Navsari before the Rath Yatra. We had gone and stayed in a Gujarati businessman's house. He was a diamond merchant. So just, and Maharaj had his room, I, the secretary, had my room, and the servant Narayan Guru had his another room. And each of us had separate bathrooms. The bathroom was the size, just the bathroom was the size of this hall plus the library. And half of this area. That was just the size of the restroom in the house, which I had for myself. Maharaj had a restroom like that, and Narayan Guru had his own restroom like that.
Inside it?
I counted how many ways you can take bath in that bath. There were 7 different ways in which you could take a bath inside that one bathroom. 7 different ways in which you could take bath in that bathroom. And I was so shocked. I was like, in that bathroom, I could have run a whole brahmachari ashram inside that bathroom. It was so big. I was so shocked. But now here, so I'm just explaining, for me it was like, what place am I in, and that person was washing my clothes, washing Maharaj's clothes, washing, Narayan Prabhu's clothes, and they were cooking for us. They would not allow us to take our plates and throw them in the trash. They would take our plates. And this was that diamond merchant who owned this house. He was serving us like that. But otherwise, he was not chanting Hare Krishna. He was, out and out materialist. All you could see, there was all up. They had like 5 cars, all sorts of big, huge TV. My God, what a huge TV, and all sorts of material opulence. But because he's pious, he knew, if I have to maintain this wealth, if I have to live this life of opulence, what I need to do is I need to serve Vaishnavas. He is materially motivated, but at least he has some intelligence. Some intelligence. Anyways, so in the next chapter, then the demigods approach Brahma with the problem, and then Brahma approaches Vishnu, and Vishnu promises that he will appear in the and by churning of the milk ocean, all their problems will be solved. So what does Vishnu want? He says that anyways, I can't say. Where is this chapter? Where you said the Lord. Oh yeah, here it is. 70. So 8.6.70. So the Supreme Lord says that demigods go and have a truce with the demons. Demons had conquered the heavenly planet. So Supreme Lord said, look, if you go and oppose them, you can't oppose them, you don't have the power now. You have committed an offense to Durvasa Muni. So the only way is that you strike a truce with the demigods, and then we'll churn the milk ocean. Why did the Supreme Lord want to churn the milk ocean?
He had a scratch in his back.
He just wanted to enjoy. That's the reason stated. He said that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of the demigods, was capable of performing the activities of the demigods by himself, he wanted to enjoy the pastimes in churning the ocean. Therefore, he spoke as follows. So, Supreme Lord wanted to enjoy the pastime of churning. Is churning enjoyable? Apparently, it is. We haven't churned, so we don't know much. Now, what can be produced by churning? You don't produce yogurt.
Butter.
You produce butter. You produce butter. You produce cream. You produce all this by churning. So from butter comes ghee, and from butter and ghee comes so many wonderful things.
Wow.
So can anyone think of something else? Another pastime in the Bhagavatam where some churning was done and something wonderful was produced. Yes. What was churned?
His thighs.
The thighs of King Vena. Wow, you're good. The thighs of King Vena was churned. The thighs of King Vena were churned, and the end result, before there was first a dwarf was produced, and then So then Prithu Maharaj appeared. So this is another.
It's like King Prithu emerged from the arms, not the thighs. We just heard about that pastime yesterday.
Right. First the thighs were churned. Actually, every body part was churned, and then different objects were produced. So Prithu Maharaj was the end result of the churning. So apparently, churning is a good thing and produces wonderful objects. So now in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in Canto 2, chapter 17, verse 13, it stated, the primary Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
Wow.
So the Supreme Lord... Now, this is interesting. Actually, when you scratch an itch, it produces some pleasure. But because we have a material body, Srila Prabhupada, this comes in this famous memory by Atma Tattva Prabhu. Atma Tattva Prabhu. He says Atma Tattva Prabhu was fanning Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said this example that material life, sex life is like an itch. So Prabhupada raised his arm like this and he said, first this itch, so you scratch it. It feels good. And you scratch more. Feels a little better. You scratch more. And Prabhupada said, then blood comes. Blood comes. So in the material body, that anything that is pleasurable, which Prabhupada is specifically talking about sex. The more you have sex, the more you want to do it. And the more you do it, what happens?
The more you suffer.
The more you suffer. The more miserable you become. And actually, in sex, you're producing just blood. Actually, not even blood. Worse than blood. It's the semen, which is the essence of blood. And you're losing it. So, but what we understand from this is that itching is a pleasure. There's some pleasure in itching. So the Supreme Lord can enjoy that itching without the consequence of suffering. And he takes the form of Lord Tortoise to enjoy that. He takes Kurma-rupa to enjoy that pastime. So, another reason for turning, this is explained in the 3rd canto, chapter 8, verse 27. Why did the Supreme Lord want to turn? Very, very interesting explanation. He wanted his ornaments polished.
Wow.
So in the 3rd canto, chapter 8, I'll read it. 3rd canto, chapter 8, what verse is this? Verse 27. So it stated that he acknowledged the service of his devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face, decorated with earrings, were so pleasing because it dazzled from the... oh no, I'm on the wrong verse. The verse before this. Yeah, and it is stated here that the ornaments of the Supreme Lord were dazzling because of it being polished by the Mandara mountain. So when the Supreme Lord...
This is the ornaments of Lord
on Lord Tortoise.
What ornaments are they? Earrings?
Huh?
You never really see him decorated with ornaments.
I mean, that's because the paintings that we have don't have it, but the Bhagavatam says that he had ornaments. How did he have ornaments?
The artist ornaments.
So he had some ornaments on him. And Mandara, and apparently he had the Kaustubha gem. That's one thing that's stated. So, the Mandara mountain polished. How is polishing done? Polishing is done with stone. So, the Mandara mountain polished the ornaments of the Supreme Lord. So, the Supreme Lord has such amazing pastimes. It's amazing how he has these transcendental reasons to enjoy. When the jiva tries to enjoy like this, he becomes miserable. So, now we will go back to this pastime and we will see what was produced in the journey. So, demigods, third truth. Oh, okay, yeah. So, 8.6.60. Alright, so the demigods needed to bring the Mandara mountain. So, when the demigods and the demons went and uprooted, the demigods, and the demons, when they went to bring the Mandara mountain, it was extremely heavy because it was made of gold. And so, it fell and smashed many demigods and demons. So what did the Supreme Lord do? He called Garuda. He lifted Mandara mountain on the back of Garuda, and Garuda brought it to the shore of the Milk Ocean. And then the Supreme Lord asked Garuda to place it on the Milk Ocean and asked him to leave. Why did he ask him to leave? Because of Vasuki, right? Because Vasuki, the serpent, Vasuki was the biggest serpent. He had, hundreds and thousands of heads.
And they're arch enemies.
Huh?
They're arch enemies, right?
Yeah, because Garuda is an eagle and this is a snake, so they're arch enemies. So Vasuki would not be there. So Lord asked Garuda to go. Now the interesting thing what the demons and demigods were thinking is like, if Garuda goes, who's going to hold up the mountain? So they tie Vasuki over the, around the mountain, and the demons and demigods start churning. But what happens? The mountain, because of its weight, sinks. So now before it starts sinking, what happens is, this is again very interesting. So Shukadeva Goswami said, "O best of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods and demons summoned Vasuki, the king of serpents, requesting him to come and promising to give him a share of the nectar. They coiled Vasuki around the Mandara mountain as a churning rope, and with great pleasure they endeavored to produce nectar by churning the ocean of milk." Now this is the characteristic and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is this whole pastime? This whole pastime is that Krishna wanted to have some enjoyment. In so many ways. He wanted his ornaments polished. He wanted some itching on his back, to be scratched. He wanted to enjoy. Now, what does he do? He engaged even the demons in his service. So what the demons were doing? Demons were performing devotional service. They're churning the milk ocean, and Kurma is like, this is nice. This scratch is nice. So the Supreme Lord is engaging the demons in his service. So this is the purpose of why the Supreme Lord appears. He tries in various means and ways to bring auspiciousness to all the living entities. And that is also the purpose of this material world. Ultimately, the purpose of this material world is somehow direct every living entity to the service of Krishna. So here Vasuki also, Supreme Lord is saying, I'll give you some nectar. We'll promise you to give you nectar, and then you come and share. So the personality of Godhead, Ajita, grasped the front portion of the snake, and then the demigods followed. So what did the demons do? The leaders of the demon thought it unwise to hold the tail, the inauspicious portion of the snake. Instead, they wanted to hold the front, which had been taken by the personality of Godhead and the demigods, because that portion was auspicious and glorious. Thus the demons, on the plea that they were all highly advanced students of Vedic knowledge, were all famous for their birth, and were all famous for their birth and activities, protested that they wanted to hold the front of the snake. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the demons thought that the front of the snake was auspicious and that catching hold of that portion would be more chivalrous. Moreover, Daityas must always do the opposite of the demigods. That is their nature. We have actually seen this in relation to our Krishna consciousness movement. We are advocating cow protection and encouraging people to drink more milk and eat palatable dishes made of milk. But the demons, just to protest such proposals, are claiming that they are advanced in scientific knowledge as described here by the word Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanaha. They say that according to their scientific way, they have discovered that milk is dangerous and that beef obtained by killing cows is very nutritious. This difference of opinion will always continue. Indeed, it has existed since the days of yore. Millions of years ago, there was the same competition. The demons, as a result of their so-called Vedic study, preferred to hold the side of the snake near the mouth. So this is really funny that Prabhupada is saying that the demons say milk is dangerous. They still say that.
Yeah.
There's still, all sorts of studies that milk is dangerous, this and that. Now, commercially produced milk, because of their nonsense and industrialism, is dangerous. It's mixed with all chemicals and pus and blood and urine of the cows. And yeah, the commercially store-bought milk is definitely very, dangerous. But milk that is produced naturally is nutritious. It's compared to Amrita in the Vedic text. That it gives so much vigor and nutrition to the body. And on the other contrary, the scientists they promote beef and other meat as very nutritious. And so these demons, they wanted to hold the front of the snake. And Prabhupada writes here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead thought it wise to catch hold of the dangerous part of the snake and allow the demons to hold the tail, which was not dangerous. But because of a competitive desire, the demons thought it wise to hold the snake near the mouth. If the demigods were going to drink poison, the demons would resolve, why should we not share the poison and die gloriously by drinking it? So this is the nature of the demons, is that they what the demigods are doing. What are they doing? Because they're always envious by nature. So you, instead of thinking about what you're doing, you always think about what the other person is doing. And it's the nature of a demon. It's like he won't see, for instance, a demon won't, if you say he has something on his plate, he has something palatable. Say he has a gulab jamun on his plate. An envious person, he'll look at another person, say another person got 2 gulab jamuns, his stomach would burn in envy. Not that he has this one gulab jamun, he could enjoy it, no. The other person got 2. I didn't get the amount of enjoyment that he got. Or at least so they think. So the demons always feel that the demigods are in a better state of enjoyment. Or the demons always think that the demons have this conception that grass is always green on the other side. So they keep looking at the other person. He's enjoying something more than me. He's enjoying something more than me. I should have that enjoyment. So typically over here, the Supreme Lord, he wanted to catch the front of the snake for the benefit of the demons. But the demons don't see that. When devotees try to benefit, materialistic people, they don't see the benefit. They say, these people are harming me. They're causing harm to me. When we tell the materialists about stop abortion, wow, you're curtailing my freedom? I'm not allowed to kill a tissue in my body? I can remove a tissue in my body? So degraded, so demoniac to think that the fetus in the body of a woman is just a tissue. And they're promoting this. It's widely promoted, this abortion. They don't know the consequences. Such killing, so much killing that goes on. I read some statistics somewhere that it said 1 in 4 babies that are born 1 in 4 fetuses in the state of New York are aborted.
Oh.
It's a quarter of all the babies that could have been born are aborted. This is not human civilization. This is worse than animal civilization. Worse than animal civilization. So bad. Even animals don't do this. There are animals that kill their own offspring after they're born. Like when produced naturally, the dog or the cat eats one of its offspring as soon as it's born. That's the medicine for producing this miserable life. But that's what it does. But even then, it kills only one. It produces probably about 6 or 8 at one shot, and it kills only one. Still, the ratio is lower than what's happening in New York. So this is worse than animal civilization. Anyways, another interesting point that's brought up over here is that in regard to the word Swadhyaya Shuddha Sampanna, another question might be raised. If one is actually educated in Vedic knowledge, is famous for performing prescribed activities, and has been born in a great aristocratic family, Why should he be called a demon? It's a very good question. Here it is stated that on the plea that they were very highly advanced students of Vedic knowledge. So it's not that the demons were not students of Vedic knowledge. The demons had varnashram. They were Brahmana. Shukracharya is a Brahmana. Brahmana means what? You have to be, you must be studied in the Vedas. So Prabhupada explains very nicely this purpose. The answer is that one may be very highly educated and may have been born in an aristocratic family, but if he is godless and if he does not listen to the instructions of God, then he is a demon. So, and then Prabhupada quotes from the Bhagavad Gita that Namam Dushtritino Muda Prapadyante Naradama Maya Apavita Jnana Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of the demons, do not surrender unto me. So Asuram Bhavam refers to not accepting the existence of God or the transcendental instructions of the personality of God. So, and then Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita clearly consists of transcendental instructions imparted directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the Asuras, instead of accepting these instructions directly, make commentaries according to their own whimsical ways and mislead everyone without profit for even themselves. One should therefore be very careful of demoniac godless persons. According to the words of Lord Krishna, even if a godless person is very well educated, he must be considered as a Buddha Naradama Maya Pavita Jnana. So, you can be very well educated. He might be worshipping demigods, but if he is against the instructions, if he does not surrender to Krishna, then according to Krishna and according to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they are demons. See that these demigods, these demons, they're very well. And another thing is that these demons are very concerned about auspicious things. They say it's inauspicious. Now their point, why are they thinking that it is inauspicious? Because they're churning this milk ocean, right? They want the nectar. And inauspicious means they might not get the nectar. They're always fearful. Oh, these demigods will cheat us and take all the nectar. So they're afraid. So they don't want to perform anything inauspicious, which means what? In one sense, that's like a Vedic thing. To look at time, place, circumstance, perform things auspiciously. But the demons, because they're ultimately aiming for something inauspicious, which is sense gratification. Although they might perform so many auspicious rituals and follow many auspicious rules and regulations, the end result is inauspicious anyway. They get cheated by material nature. But whereas the demigods, they didn't object. Oh, yes, the tail of a snake is inauspicious. It's a fact. The tail of a snake is inauspicious. Not that the head is auspicious, but the tail is inauspicious. But then what the Supreme Lord did? So then it said, thus the demons remain silent, opposing the desire of the demigods. It's a characteristic. Have you seen? When people don't want to listen to good advice, they just ignore. You keep looking in different directions. You're talking to someone, you're giving them good advice, and they keep looking in some other direction. It's like, so the demons are doing that. They remain silent. And seeing the demons and understanding their motive, the Supreme Personality of Godhead smiled. Without discussion, he immediately accepted the proposal by grasping the tail of the snake, and the demigods followed him. That's the characteristic of a devotee. Demigod. Says, oh, Vishnu, oh spiritual master, you're doing something inauspicious. No, the spiritual master is doing it. If Krishna does it, the disciple follows, the devotee follows. He does not say this is inauspicious. He does not say that, he accepts the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he executes it. Understanding that following the instructions of Krishna and following the instructions of Guru is actual auspiciousness. And the same thing, we see in the Bhagavad Gita. Dharma kshetre kuru kshetre samaveta yutsavaha mamaka pandavas chaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. Having thus assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, what is that? Desirous to fight? My sons and the sons of Pandu. What did they do? So he's asking this question. Why is he asking this question? Because Prabhupada explains in the purport. He's afraid that
Why is
So
it?
first the reason why Kurukshetra was chosen as the battle. If you look at the history of the Mahabharata, it was the Kauravas who chose Kurukshetra as the battlefield. Why did they choose it? Because they said, we are Kurus. If we fight in Kurukshetra, we will be victorious. So they did something auspicious. So they chose Kurukshetra. And then again, because again Dhritarashtra has demoniac characteristics, he is concerned. Oh, auspicious is all nice, but I know the Pandavas are more virtuous than my sons. So what if all this auspiciousness instead of benefiting my sons benefits them? And that's what actually happened anyway. But that is not the actual cause of why the Pandavas won. Pandavas won because Krishna was on their side. The demons are doing the same mistake here. They're thinking, oh, it's very auspicious to hold
The head of this.
the head of the snake. But Krishna is on the side of the demigods. So that's where ultimate auspiciousness is. Not whether you catch the head of a tail of a snake and all these kind of Vedic rituals. That makes that makes no difference when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present.
Aren't the Pandavas also Kurus?
That's what I was going to say.
Huh?
Pandavas are also Kurus.
The Pandavas are also Kurus, but the Kauravas never considered them as, the Kauravas then.
By the way, the auspicious
But
effect.
they still were. I mean,
They were.
That's a silly
The
logic
Pandavas
for them.
considered, but the Kauravas had exiled them. They didn't have a kingdom. So they were like outcast.
Yeah.
According to the Kauravas, they've been outcast. They've been exiled. It's like a group of Brahmanas. They rejected a Brahmana. They threw him out of the society. He might be by birth, but he's not considered a Brahmana anymore. The Kauravas had that kind of a feeling towards the Pandavas. So, alright, so then what happened? So, after thus adjusting how the snake was to be held, the sons of Kashyapa, both the demigods and demons, began their activities, desiring to get the nectar by churning the ocean of milk. Same thing. Both the demigods and demons are sons of Kashyapa. Right? They're actually cousins.
Kaji.
Just like the Pandavas and the Kauravas.
Like Kaji.
Same problem. So, O son of the Pandu dynasty, when the Mandara mountain was thus being used as a turning rod in the ocean of milk, it had no support, and therefore, although held by the strong hands of the demigods and demons, it sank into the water. So then, because the mountain had been sunk by the strength of providence, the demigods and demons were disappointed, and their faces seemed to shrivel. Seeing the situation that had been created by the will of the Supreme, the ultimately unlimitedly powerful Lord, whose determination is infallible, took the wonderful shape of a tortoise, entered the water, and lifted the great Mandara mountain. So, the Supreme Lord, when He wants to do something, He will do it. That's why His will is infallible. Not that now the demigods and demons say, this is not practical. What is this? Now what can we do? How can we churn this milk? Why is Vishnu giving such impractical suggestions and making us do all this? Let's give it up. Let's try something else. Try something new. Oh, book distribution is not, temporarily you might not see some people. Anyway, people come actually, but somehow this argument, oh, book distribution doesn't bring people. Oh, it's not a good preaching. Let's try different preaching techniques. Let's try something else. Let's try something new. But a devotee, according to just like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his will is infallible. Why? Because he understands Krishna has given this method. The Acharyas have given this method. They have promised all auspiciousness and success with this. There were so many times Prabhupada said, just continue the activities, just continue the way the movement in the way I've presented, and everything shall, and you will get everything that you desire. And everything that is needed for the Krishna consciousness movement will appear. And there will be all good fortune. But our will is fallible. We don't have faith. So we try to change. Keep trying to change, invent something. So, anyways, so the Supreme Lord takes the form of a tortoise, entered the water, and lifted the great Mandara mountain. When the demigods and demons saw that the Mandara mountain had been lifted, they were enlivened and encouraged to begin the churning again. The mountain rested on the back of a great tortoise which extended for 800,000 miles like a large island. O king, when the demigods and demons by the strength of their arms rotated the Mandara mountain on the back of the extraordinary tortoise, the tortoise accepted the rolling of the mountain as a means of scratching his body and thus felt a pleasing sensation. So, thereafter Lord Vishnu entered the demons as the quality of passion, the demigods as the quality of goodness, and Vasuki in the quality of ignorance, to encourage them and increase their various types of strength and energy. Why did the Supreme Lord enter the demigods in the mode of goodness, demons in the mode of passion, and Vasuki in the mode of ignorance?
That's what they predominated.
Well, they predominated, that's true, but there's a reason why there's the reason why the Supreme Lord wants to enhance that mode in them. Huh? No, pastime, yes, everything is pastime, but what is the reason?
That's why they're the best.
So,
Best for what? What do they have
Best
to
of
do?
their performance.
Perform what?
so they can train the ocean.
Yeah, but a little more specific.
That's like
Yeah, they're all training the ocean, right? They're all training the ocean. Why different modes for different people?
That's what encourages them. They get more enthusiastic when there's more passion. Demons when they
Okay, the demons get. So you see, here the Supreme Lord is being. He's very intelligent. Sorry, Supreme Lord Krishna is very intelligent.
It's like
So what he does, yeah, go on, if you want to say.
I was just gonna say, like, it's like, you know, like Bhakti Siddhanta was giving the workers biddies as they were building the temple. He said, just give them, you know, like, go
Right, encouraging them
encourage them so
in their capacities. So you see, the Supreme Lord entered the demigods in the mode of goodness because he. So he entered in the mode of goodness because he wanted the demigods to remain unattached to the results that will come out of the turning of the milk. That if they're in the mode of goodness, whatever comes out, they think, wait. Vishnu, what can we take, what should we not take? So they listen to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When you're in the mode of goodness, you will listen to the instructions of Krishna. So the mode of goodness enables that, enables the intelligence to act. Why in the mode of passion for the demons?
Because they want to be super. He wants them to be attached to all these things. So by the time the next guy comes, they'll be distracted.
Right, they would be distracted by Mohini. When Mohini appears, if you're in the mode of passion, what's going to happen? You will feel lusty like anything. So they get bewildered by Mohini. Mohini came. Mohini is so bewildering. Even Indra has run after so many women in the past. How come he didn't run after Mohini? Because the Supreme Lord infused them all with the mode of goodness. Yeah, I'm protecting you from my own Maya. But then he goes into the mode of passion with the demons. He entices them as Mohini. Then another reason is, if they're in the mode of passion, they're going to work hard. They're going to work really hard. So it's stated in the previous chapter that the Supreme Lord, he says the demons, he said, you strike a screws and make them work for you to get the nectar. So when in the mode of passion, they become very excited about the fruits of their results. And the demigods and the demons are the ones who are churning the milk ocean more strongly than the demigods. They're working very hard. And so the Supreme Lord makes them work hard. And of course, again, the beauty is, this is not like a master treating a slave and then cheating him. Because ultimately, they're all doing devotional service. So in that way, he's giving them benefit. Why ignorance for Vasuki?
That way, just be like, murder, tamas, all that, you can stretch me as much as you like.
Because Vasuki is suffering like anything.
It's too much like anything.
He's being pulled, in two directions, and that huge mountain of gold, and he's being pulled in both directions. He's suffering. So how in the material world, how do you elevate suffering?
Tamas.
Get into mode of ignorance. All drugs, intoxication. So he enters into the mode of ignorance, intoxicated. Vasuki doesn't know what's going on. This is how beautiful the basins of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are. It's really, really nectar, so much nectar. So So then, and when one discusses the pastimes, then we churn the nectar of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then, manifesting himself with thousands of hands, the Lord then appeared on the summit of the Mandara mountain, like another great mountain, and held the Mandara mountain with one hand. In the upper planetary systems, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, along with Indra, the king of heaven, and other demigods, offered prayers to the Lord and showered flowers upon him. So what the Supreme Lord does is he appears in the form of Ajita, which he is already, but he takes a form where he has thousands and thousands of hands. And see that's a very beautiful painting that they have. You see with this painting, it always, in this painting, Lord Shiva is very nice, but what really attracted me so much is that Vishnu sitting on top like that. And then there's Vasuki. So he's sitting on top. Why is he sitting there? So that he can give more pressure to an already heavy mountain?
To get them fired up.
Stabilize it.
That's what Prabhupada writes. To balance the Mandara mountain, while it was being pulled from both sides, the Lord himself appeared on the summit like another great mountain. Lord Brahma, Shiva and Indra then expanded themselves and showered flowers on the Lord. The demigods and demons worked almost madly for the nectar. Encouraged by the Lord who was above and below the mountain, who had entered the demigods, the demons, Vasuki and the mountain himself. Basically, the Supreme Lord was doing everything. Because of the strength of the demigods and demons, the ocean of milk was so powerfully agitated that the alligators in the water were very much perturbed. Nonetheless, the churning of the ocean continued in this way. Vasuki had thousands of eyes and mouths, and from his mouth he breathed smoke and blazing fire, which affected the demons, headed by Pauloma, Kaleya, Bali, and Ilvala. Thus, the demons, who appeared like sarala trees, burned by a forest fire, gradually became powerless. So now the demons were realizing, oh my gosh, we caught the wrong side of the snake. So, because the demigods were also affected by the blazing breath of Vasuki, their bodily lustres diminished, and their garments, garlands, and weapons and faces were blackened by smoke. However, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, clouds appeared on the sea, pouring torrents of rain, and breezes flew, carrying the particles of water from the sea waves to give the demigods relief. So, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this way, in his pastime of churning the milk, is alleviating the misery of both the demigods and the demons and churning this milk. And when the nectar did not come from the ocean of milk, despite so much endeavor, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ajita, personally began to churn the ocean. Then the Supreme Lord now also is starting to churn the ocean of milk. So, then the poison is generated, and what happens when the poison is generated? Shiva comes and he drinks it. So now let's look at what was produced in the churning after the poison was generated. So the first thing that was produced after the poison was Surabhi, cow. So upon Lord Shiva's drinking the poison, both the demigods and demons, being very pleased, began to churn the ocean with renewed vigor. As a result of this, there appeared a cow known as Surabhi. Oh, before this, I would like to mention 8.19. Why? Now the Supreme Personality of Godhead did so much in this pastime. Why did he not drink the ocean of poison? Why did he ask Lord Shiva to do it? Or why was Lord Shiva asked to do it? I mean, everything else was done by the Supreme Lord. He could have done that also.
He wanted to glorify Shiva.
He needs to give credit to his devotees.
Right, he wants to give credit to his
Killed all the
devotees.
battlefield.
He says, Prabhupada writes in the purport, one may question that since the Supreme Personality of God was personally present, why did he accompany all the demigods and people in general to take shelter of Lord Shiva? So what happens is, he had already mentioned when the demons had first approached him for help, that poison will be generated, don't be disturbed, Lord Shiva will drink it. So when this pastime, when the poison actually appears, Vishnu says, oh, what should we do? And then and then Vishnu says, "Chalo, let's all go and ask Lord Shiva to help us." So Vishnu also goes there, stands before supplicated hands before Lord Shiva, and and prays. So in this connection, Srila Madhvacharya warns, Prabhupada writes, Rudrasi yashayo ritya swayam Vishnu vishwam vibhu na sanjarhe samartopi vayum choche prashantaye. Lord Vishnu was competent to rectify the situation, but in order to give credit to Lord Shiva, who later drank all the poison and kept it in his neck, Lord Vishnu did not take action. So, one of the characteristics of materialistic people, also Mayavadis, is to derive philosophy from pastimes, which non-bona fide philosophy. So they look at this incident, they say, see, Vishnu appeared Lord Shiva. Even Vishnu needed Lord Shiva's help. So you see Shiva and Vishnu are acting. So Shiva went and requested Vishnu's help, and Vishnu is requesting Shiva's help, so they're all one. They say the same thing. There's this famous pastime of which is said all the time. When you say, "Oh, Vishnu is supreme, Vishnu is supreme," and then you say, "But Lord Rama worshipped Shiva. When did he worship Shiva?"
He didn't really, it's like not exactly one of where that's what the Shiva Sannyasi was telling me.
Right, but there is
After he
a Stala
After he
Purana.
killed Ravana.
Our acharyas explain it differently. Huh?
After he killed Ravana.
After he killed Ravana, Ravana was a Brahmana. So that's interesting. He was a Brahmana, but he was called a demon. So Ravana was a Brahmana, and because of killing a Brahmana, Lord Rama wanted to alleviate the sin of killing a Brahmana as a Prayaschitta. So what does he do? He worships Lord Shiva. But how does he worship him? Our acharyas explained this, that he I think it was explained. The Sri Vaishnavas don't even accept this pastime, but I think the Madhvas explained it in this way. So they say, now what happened is, before you worship someone, before you worship a deity, one of the first things you need to do is blank.
Offer them milk, or like bathe them,
You
right?
have to bathe up, you have to bathe yourself.
Oh,
You have to take a bath. So Lord Ram, he takes a bath in the ocean. And then he makes a linga of Shiva. And then what does he do?
bathes him.
He bathes the linga with what?
Water that he bathed.
With the sea water. He goes and bathes in the sea, and he takes the very sea water and bathes the linga. So Acharyas explain that Lord Ram first made the whole ocean as Charnamrit, and then he puts that Charnamrit on Lord Shiva. And then Shiva wanted the Charnamrit of Lord Ram, and Lord Ram is fulfilling his devotee's desire like that. Otherwise you would not do it. It's actually, if you do something like that, imagine you take a bath, you collect all that water and you pour it on the deity. What an offense. Huh? But that's what Lord Ram did. So, but then they derive philosophy like this. So from past times we are not supposed to understand, which is why our acharyas have always spoken about the philosophy and not just pastimes. Because from pastimes people can cook up whatever they want, which is not true. So the Supreme Lord, he acts for the sake of enjoyment. So first cow was produced, and then and so who took charge of the cows?
The demigod.
No, the great sages.
I mean,
The great sages who were completely aware. Sages are different.
Okay.
It's like Durvasa is different.
The sages.
Yeah. Sages, they took Rishayaha. The great sages who were completely aware of the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies took charge of that Surabhi cow, which produced all yogurt, milk and ghee absolutely necessary for offering oblations to the fire. They did this for the sake of pure ghee, which they wanted in the performance of sacrifices to elevate themselves to the higher planetary systems up to Brahma Loka. So, then what was produced?
Airavat.
Uchchaishrava.
Oh, right.
Who's Uchchaishrava?
Krishna.
Uchchaishrava comes in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Krishna says, among horses I'm Uchchaishrava. So it's the best horse. Who took charge of it? Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj takes charge of the horse. Then Airavata comes, and then yes, and then Airavata, and then Indra takes Airavata. And then after that, the gems Kaustubha Mani and Padmaraga Mani were produced, and Lord Vishnu took them. And then the Parijata flower comes. And the
Demigods,
Parijata...
obviously.
Huh?
Demigods took it.
Yeah, the demigods took the Parijata flower. And then came the Apsaras, who were prostitutes. They were fully decorated with golden ornaments and were decorated. And the Apsaras moved very slowly, and the inhabitants of the heavenly planets took the Apsaras.
Okay.
Next appeared the goddess of fortune, Ramadevi. Now it said in another thing that when Ramadevi appeared, she was so attractive. Oh, it said it here, yeah. Because of her exquisite beauty, her bodily features, her youth, complexion, and glory, everyone, including the demigods, demons, and human beings, also desired her. So even the humans on earth, they would look, oh my God, we want that. You know. So they were attracted because she is the source of all opulences. So what happened? They were all trying to attract her. So what did Indra do? Indra brought a suitable sitting place for the goddess of fortune. All the rivers, such as Ganges, personified. Each of them brought pure water in golden pots for Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. The land, becoming a person, collected her drugs and herbs. So everyone is worshipping. Different people are worshipping. Everyone is saying the great sages performed the bathing ceremony of the goddess of fortune. Gandharvas chanted auspicious Vedic mantras. Professional women danced very nicely. Then what happens is in the end she goes and she garlands. So she said, thereafter, while thus being bathed, the goddess of fortune, maintaining her original style with the lotus flower in her hand, appeared very beautiful. The goddess of fortune is most chaste, for she does not know anyone with the Supreme Personality of God. So she goes and garlands the Supreme Personality of God after all this happens. Then, anyway, this is still about the goddess of fortune. Goddess of to dress is still, wow, so much description.
You're on a roll, Vishnu.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't she like say
Huh?
that none of you are really worthy?
Yeah. It's only 8:40.
Tomorrow is good.
It's only 8:40.
Doesn't she say like none of you guys are really worthy for me? I'm looking for someone that doesn't like have any problems. And
Right,
he's got problems. He can control senses. He's like that. He's not.
Right, she says that. Anyways, then what happens after that is Varni. Varni appears. Who's Varni? The lotus-eyed goddess who controls drunkards. The permission of so what happens is who takes her?
Demons.
The demons. They want liquor, so they take it. And thereafter, after that, in the end, Dhanvantari appears. Dhanvantari catching a pot of nectar, he appears. So this is the pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, training the hill. Ocean Dhanvantari is explained in the other in the next verse, so I'm not going to discuss that. That can be discussed by the next speaker. So with this, I end my class. If anyone wants to.
I have a few questions, but I don't know if we want to go on now or we can.
So should we comment and then Jose can say something?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
So you were mentioning like everyone wants to try new things, but the sign of like a devotee or like the demigods, when Vishnu went to the other side, they just didn't like. They just accepted it. They followed their authority. You follow your spiritual master, and so in these days, there's a lot of people that are thinking, oh well, book distribution, doing Harinama, just not going to cut it. It's not what's happening. But I would say like, well, it doesn't work if you don't do it.
right.
Like they're not. If they're it's one thing if they were doing it and then they were finding it difficult to wait by. But it seems like the places that are doing it are doing really well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's true.
Step the whole class. I have like 2 questions, but I can just ask one. You're saying that how the ornament that or like the quality that ornaments like a good devotee or disciple, that he always listens to what the guru says. So like even the demons listen to their guru Shukracharya.
Right.
But like following that guru is not giving them liberation.
Right.
Because they followed their guru so well, they worshipped their guru so nicely, they got so powerful that they could even defeat the demigod and all that. But what's the? Is it because the guru is like, like?
Because there's power in following the Vedas. The demons know this. Real demons follow the Vedas because they know that there is benefit in following the Vedas. But they exploit the Vedas for their own personal benefits. That's why they're called demons. So Shukracharya also, he knows what will give them success. It's like the demons, they're trying to see which is auspicious. Oh, the tail of a snake is not auspicious. Inauspicious. So they follow the Vedas. You will see in the description of in Ramayana, you will see that in Lanka, when Hanuman went there in the description, there were Brahmanas reciting the Vedas. There were temples where worship was being done, all these things they follow, but they follow it for their personal sense gratification. They don't do it for the pleasure of Vishnu. So there is benefit by following the Vedas. There is power that one gets by following, because one is, it's just like a real good driver knows how to use a car properly. And he can drive very fast. But if he drives very fast, on a highway, the cops are going to catch him. But still, he can drive very fast. And at least till the cops catch him, he enjoys the benefit of driving. So it's like that, the Vedas. Now, a foolish person, he wouldn't drive properly, so he won't enjoy, and he'll be caught by the cops also. But say a really rascal driver, really good rascal driver, he would know how to evade the cops as much as possible. That means he would use the car properly.
They would have like the police radios.
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah.
So in that way, they're utilizing, so it's similar. The demigods, the demons, they utilize the Vedas for their personal benefit. So there's some advantage to it. Yeah, I'll go to him, then I'll come.
Then they come down like everything like kingdom when Duryodhana was like ruling with the trust or ruling. Economic development and sense gratification was very high. But because they weren't following the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they had to be annihilated.
Yeah.
That was a good example, I thought.
Yeah. And Ravana also, amazing kingdom. Wow, what? Lanka was so prosperous. Lanka was so prosperous. I mean, Ravana had things so much under control that the sun wouldn't shine too bright in fear that Ravana would feel hot. The waves, when he goes next to the ocean, the waves wouldn't roar that much and wouldn't come out so much. So it was heavenly experience. Imagine, the king is there and he does make sure it's not too hot, it's not too cold. They'll love a king like that. Why would you not love a king like that? But still Krishna wanted to kill him.
Kamsa too would be amazing compared to like the rulers we have now.
The rulers you have now is
horrible.
The rulers you have now are horrible.
Joke, yeah.
This is just a joke, yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
So there was another point that was said that the verse begins Asura and Sura, they were like churning the ocean of milk. But then we can realize also, we can see that although Bali is considered one of the Mahajanas, a great but why is he considered an Asura, and why did he not recognize Mohini Murti when she appeared and worshipped her like Vishnu? I particularly found this 8th canto like full of these so many contradictions. Even actually, this is the part of the Bhagavatam that the Shiva Sannyasi is pointing out and saying it glorifies even Maheshwara here. So like this is the most like contradictory, confusing part of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
So you see, again, because at least us Gaudiya Vaishnavas can understand the moods and mellows of devotional service, we understand that Bali Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj acted as demons. They continued to rule as demons, as the leader of the demons. Even after they were devotees, they continued to rule as demons because they understood that that's what the Supreme Lord wants them to do. Supreme Lord wants them to be the king of demons. The Supreme Lord installed Prahlad Maharaj as the king of the demons. He just said that you rule the lower planetary systems, you don't rule the higher planetary systems. But it's not that now just because Prahlad Maharaj is the king, the Supreme Personality of Godhead killed all the demons and gave the demigods rule over the lower planetary systems also. He didn't let that happen. He let the demons rule their kingdom. And so, similarly, so we see that devotees, very advanced devotees, pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, take positions like this in the material world and act according to that position for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. They do such a good job of it. But still, they remain devotees. They're not affected by these things, by the way the other demons are affected. They remain transcendental, but in their transcendental service, they act as if they're infected by these material modes and like this. This is their service. It's Bali Maharaj's service because Bali Maharaj is such an exalted demon. So if he partakes in the churning of the ocean, all the demons are going to feel enthusiastic. If Bali Maharaj doesn't participate, the demons are going to be, man, Bali Maharaj is not participating. What can we do? This is not a good idea, probably. We won't do this. Demigods, we won't have a truce with you. If Bali Maharaj, it's okay. We'll have a truce. Let's do it. So Supreme Lord is very expert. His devotees are very expert. They're very expert at bewildering the conditioned souls also. So, in that sense, if you look at it, there is no contradiction.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to end right now. Yeah.
I was going to read, there's like this verse from the 12th canto, like glorification of karma.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, it's like a translation. I'm going to read the purport. It's like a paragraph. So this is Canto 12, Chapter 13, Text 2. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Lord Kurma, a tortoise, his back was scratched by the sharp-edged stones lying on massive, whirling Mount Mandara, and this scratching made the Lord sleepy. May you all be protected by the winds caused by the Lord's breathing in this sleepy condition. Ever since that time, even up to the present day, the ocean tides have imitated the Lord's inhalation and exhalation by piously coming in and going out. And purport. As at times we alleviate an itching sensation by blowing on it. Similarly, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can alleviate the itching sensation within the minds of mental speculators, as well as the itching of the material senses of the conditioned souls engaged in sense gratification.
Oh my God.
Thus, by meditating on the windy breath of Lord Kurma, the tortoise incarnation, all categories of conditioned souls can be relieved of the deficiencies of material existence and come to the liberated spiritual platform. One must simply allow the pastimes of karma to blow within one's heart like a favorable breeze, then one will surely find spiritual peace.
Wow, nectar.
Amazing.
I wanted to also speak a little about Kurma Kshetra, but anyways, now time is up. So, I'd like to end the class the way Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is inspired by that. Parivadatu jano yatha tatha va nanumukharo navayam vicharayamaha harirasa madira madadi matta bhuvi viluthama nathama nirvishama. Let the garrulous populace say whatever they like, we shall pay them no regard. Thoroughly maddened by the ecstasy of the intoxicating beverage of love for Krishna, we shall enjoy life, running about, rolling on the ground and dancing in ecstasy. What is that? Then what stated by Prabodhananda Saraswati. Dante nidayat nakam padayor nipatya kritva cha kakushatameta daham bravimi he sadhava sakalameva vihaya dura chaitanya chanda charne gurutam raga vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa srivubhya vacha patitanam bhavane pino vaishnava
Feet towards front of the
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.